Welcome to today's explainer. We are jumping right into Neil Donald Walsch's massive capstone text, Home with God in a Life That Never Ends. Now, this book wraps up an 11-year, 3,000-page cosmology. It's a lot, I know, but don't worry, we're going to distill the absolute mind-bending essentials of this entire cosmology in 8 minutes or less.
So let me ask you, what really happens when we die? It is, hands down, humanity's oldest and honestly most terrifying question. It totally shapes how we live, love, and grieve, right? For a lot of us, it's just shrouded in this deep fear of judgment, or maybe just nothingness. But what if literally everything we've been taught to fear about this process is fundamentally completely wrong?
Okay, let's dive into this. The book hits us with this massive, totally disruptive premise right out of the gate. Death does not exist, which, yeah, sounds impossible because we see it happen around us every single day. But Walsh's core message is that what we call death isn't an endpoint at all. It's just a transition. It's life simply continuing in a much more expansive form. And honestly, once you really grasp that one concept, it completely shatters those old fears and changes how we experience our daily lives. Here's a quick roadmap so we know where we're headed. First, the grand illusion. Second, the cycle of life. Third, bending space and time. And finally, your power of choice. Starting right off with Section 1, the grand illusion. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how our fear holds us back. From our standard limited human perspective, we see death as a tragedy, an ultimate end. And because of that, we kind of view ourselves as victims of fate. But from God's perspective, or ultimate reality, whatever term you prefer, death is actually a profound gift. It's a transition and a moment of pure creation. Shifting that perspective from victimhood to realizing you're an empowered creator fundamentally alters your reality. It completely takes the sting away. To really get why it's a gift, we need to talk about completion. The text tells us that we never actually left the ultimate source to begin with. We are literally always connected. Life here on Earth, it's simply the soul's journey to take the abstract knowing of who we are and turn it into the physical experiencing of it. We take on these physical bodies just so we can fully experience things like love, compassion, and joy. And when we finally hit that state where knowing and experiencing merge into absolute feeling, well, that is when we reach completion. Which brings us to a statement that's probably going to shift your entire paradigm. You are the cause of your own death. This is always true, no matter where or how you die. Just let that land for a second. The source material insists there are absolutely zero victims here. At a soul level, we actually choose exactly when to leave the physical body because that departure serves our highest spiritual agenda. We leave when our soul has completed what it came here to experience, no sooner, no later. Moving right along, Section 2, the cycle of life. Let's move to and see how this builds, because the book lays out this fascinating 100-word formula for all of life. Think of it as a step-by-step engine of evolution. It starts with hope, and that opens the door to belief. Belief then naturally leads to knowing. What you know, you inevitably create. That creation allows for experience, and experience leads straight to expression. And the whole thing culminates in becoming. This is literally the eternal engine of the soul. We're constantly cycling through these exact steps to become the grandest version of ourselves. To help us visualize this, Walsh uses this really cool metaphor called the apple orange. Imagine the universe is shaped like a giant apple or an orange. Now picture your soul as a tiny microbe moving through a tunnel right through the core of that shape. You journey along the outside, that's the physical realm, then you dive deep into the core of your being to merge with the divine and finally emerge on the other side back into the spiritual realm. It's just this continuous, beautiful loop of merging and emerging. So what actually happens when we make that transition through the core? Well, the text breaks down 3 rapid chronological stages of passing on. First, you instantly realize you are not your physical body. Second, and this is wild, you experience exactly what you expect to experience. So if you expect heaven, you get heaven. If you expect a terrifying judgment, you'll actually experience that right up until you realize you can choose differently. And then third, you finally merge completely with the essence, that ultimate reality, experiencing pure bliss and total understanding. All right, Section 3, bending space and time. The text drops a really brilliant, unique term to help ground this esoteric idea. That word is sequentaneous. It basically means that all of time and space exist simultaneously. Everything that has ever happened or ever will happen is literally happening right now. But because our physical human brains would short circuit trying to process all of that at once, our soul experiences it sequentially. Just one moment right after another. Now, what's really interesting about the slide is how it breaks down our normal view. Usually we look at a timeline as a straight line, right? 0 is birth, year 40 is life, year 80 is death. But if we apply that concept of sequentaneous reality, these events aren't actually sequential at all. They exist concurrently. Birth, life, and death are all happening together in the eternal now.
This quote really captures it perfectly. Time is. It is said that time marches on, but time, in fact, marches nowhere. It is you who march on. I mean, think of it like this. Imagine time is a giant, endless mural painted on the wall of a long corridor. The mural itself isn't moving. You are the one walking down the corridor, shining a flashlight on different pictures. You're the one moving through time, focusing your consciousness on different experiences.
Bringing us to our final section. Section 4, your power of choice.
Once you're on the other side, the soul doesn't just, sit on a cloud playing a harp. It engages in this joyful work. You reestablish your true identity. You get to decide exactly how you want to recreate yourself next. All your thoughts, words, and deeds reintegrate back into one unified force. And because of that, you get to experience instantaneous creation at the superconscious level. Whatever you desire literally manifests instantly in the spiritual realm.
But here is where the book drops a truly massive revelation. Death is reversible. Yeah, you heard that right. During what the book calls the holy inquiry, which happens right after you pass over, your soul is gently asked if it feels complete. If your soul feels like, hey, I have more to do, or I have more to learn, or honestly just doesn't want to leave yet, it can choose to instantly return to physical life. You can essentially undo the death.
So the crucial point is really summed up in the 18th remembrance. Whether you're in the physical realm, dealing with the daily grind, or in the spiritual realm, deciding on your next cosmic adventure, you are in total control. Free choice is the act of pure creation. It is the signature of the divine within you, and it is your absolute power forever. You are never a victim. You are always, always the creator of your own experience.
I want to leave you with this really provocative thought to ponder. If you truly internalize all of this, if you completely drop that fear of dying and realize you are an eternal creator moving through this magnificent universe, how will that change your life right now? If you no longer fear dying, how will you use the events of today to create the promise of tomorrow? Get out there, live fully, live joyfully, and live fearlessly, because you absolutely have the power. What a phenomenal, mind-bending journey through an incredibly deep text. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to In 8 Minutes and never miss what matters.